Yeah, hello everyone. Very excited for you to join today. Today we have a special session on master prompt engineering for your studies. So kind of like the skills that you need as a student in prompt engineering to work with these Gen AI tools for your studies, for citation, for working, for learning, for researching, and so on. Very shortly about me before I introduce our guest. Today, my name is Tristan. I'm the CEO and founder of the AI Strategy Institute. I'm a lecturer at the Technical University of Munich for the application of artificial intelligence, and I'm also a faculty member for AI at the Boston Consulting Group. And before I lead over to Gent, so we had, I think a couple of weeks ago, we had a lecture with my students where we talked about generative AI and prompt engineering, and where we asked them, so who of you is using Gen AI tools on a daily basis? And everyone raised their hand. And then we asked them, like, who of you thinks that he or she is actually very proficient when it comes to using Gen AI tools? And then I think maybe one or two people raised their hand out of 300, 400 students. So we thought, let's change that. And for this, I invited Gent, and for whom I'm working very closely with. And I want to give kind of like now the scepter to you to introduce yourself, and then also kind of like to lead the session today.
Thank you very much, Tristan. Okay, hi everybody. Right now I cannot see anybody, but I see a chat function. So if you have any question, I guess you can always write in the chat and I will see them and try to answer the question as close as possible. With respect to today's lecture, thanks for everybody who joins today. So today the expectation is that we will jump into prompt engineering, but more focused on the student. So we will look with the eyes of the student. We will go through a user journey of a student and see, like, okay, the different blocks that a student has to build upon for their studies. So we see first with research, with getting insights, with citation, with writing, and also a little bit in the end if you have the time with coding. So in general, we are 1 hour together today. So I hope for an interactive session. Um, yeah, I hope that you also have a lot of questions. If it happens to be that you are watching this recording and I cannot answer your question right away, then just ask me, like, via LinkedIn, Tristan or me, or during the lectures. You have already heard that Tristan is holding the lecture at TUM, so just ask away. So I'm looking forward to this session today. Maybe I should introduce myself a little bit. So my name is Gentrit Fazlija. I am AI lecturer and AI engineer. So I'm doing like about, I would say, like 60 or 70 different lectures or workshops in the AI space for different partners. And now I'm at the AI Strategy Institute, which, as Tristan already said, we are working together. With respect to AI engineers, so I've built multiple RAG frameworks, automations, multi-agent frameworks, and now I'm building also little agents that you will see in a few weeks that will be published. But let's see if it's going to be as big as I hope. Yeah, that's enough from my side. Of course, if you have any questions, just let me know. But I would jump right into the situation of where we want to build together stuff, and that is building a knowledge base regarding I'm a student and I want to use the AI tools available to me in this today age that we live in. So let me share my screen and oh, nice. Okay, I want to share.
Can you share? Should just kind of like, if you go to present, you should be able to share your screen, and then I also would kind of like go backstage to give you all the space you need.
Yes.
So once you're sharing, and yeah.
Yes, I just shared my screen.
Right, I think I'm not able to see it yet. Can you see it? Something that you're sharing it?
Yeah, it's in the backstage. You have to enable it
I think
into the.
Laura is taking notes in the backstage, so give it a second. And
no pressure.
because we had some technical difficulties today. Perfect. Now, okay, then very excited and for your session, and then all the best. I'm gonna go backstage now if Laura allows me to do so.
Yeah, just stay put until you're backstage. No problem. Okay, so let's start. First, I would say 20-30% of the time we will jump into prompt engineering, and the rest of the time I will show you the tools, and we will see as far as possible. In the end of this, so after the recording, because this session will be recorded and you can also watch it later on, I will include also a PDF document, all the tools and the different use case that you can use the tools. But I hope really for an interactive session. So if you have any question, just jump right into. I have a question towards you, and that is, we first start with prompt engineering. So I've asked prompt engineering, ChatGPT, like, okay, what is actually a prompt engineering? What is prompt engineering? So we start really low key, and then we get really quickly to a higher level. So with respect to prompt engineering, when we read the description, what ChatGPT wrote me, it's to understand. It's a part of understanding the model, having clarity and specificity, interactive refinement, contextual instructions, and task adaptation. Okay, we will go through these different things. Okay, first thing is understanding the model. If I ask you now, how many different AI solutions are out there? You will probably say thousands of thousands of thousands. So like a lot. And this is actually true. During 2000, I would say 23, it was approximately 3.5 thousand, August 2023, 3.5 thousand AI solutions came out every single week. So a lot of people have developed AI solutions. So there were so many AI solutions, not models, but AI solutions coming out that the people were just mesmerized with it. But at the same time, there were different articles coming out where they said that building or training one AI model costs multiple thousands US dollars. So, for example, GPT-4 has cost approximately 74 million USD just for training. So now we have two statements in the room. So we have, first, there are thousands of AI solutions coming out every single week. And on the other side, one LLM just cost multiple million USD just for training. So we have two statements. And to make sense of this problem, it's you have to understand that what the most AI solutions are, they are just wrappers on top of actually existing AI solutions, on existing LLMs. So if you think of LLMs, what you have to think of, that there are actually just 5 to 6 notable LLMs in our Western hemisphere. So LLMs, just for somebody who did not catch the name, LLMs are large language models. So ChatGPT is, for example, an LLM. We have approximately 5 to 6. So that would be Anthropic's Claude, ChatGPT from OpenAI, Gemini from Google, Mistral from Mistral, and Llama from Meta. So these are actually really big models that we use. And all the other AI solutions, so every solution that I will show you today, is just a wrapper on top of these existing LLMs. So theoretically, what you can do is, for all the AI solutions, and I've already stacked them up here as tabs, that we will go through, you can actually also just use as an existing LLM under the hood. So you have to understand that to be productive with respect to your studies. And all the different LLMs actually also, even though they are generalized, they try to specialize in their own unique instance. So we have, for example, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is trying to be the solution for everything. So they are trying to be the solution for everything, and they are exceedingly good as a task with respect to literature. Claude, for example, Claude Solutions is also trying to be a generalized solution, but they are exceedingly good with respect to coding at this time. And also with ChatGPT and also every other manufacturer with respect to LLM, they are trying to get better with respect to different so-called downstream tasks. So for example, one would be here the difference between GPT-4o and GPT-4o with Canvas. Another one would be GPT-o1 and o1 mini and GPT-4o mini and 4. So this is a real spaghetti saying just. So the difference in here are mainly focused on the first four. Okay, so 4o. So what is 4o? 4o is called for omni. So the O is for omni. So omnipresence, being everywhere, knowing everything. So that's the idea of OpenAI when they did that. So why O was even into like interested, why or came even into the picture? It was mainly the motivation behind it that GPT-4 just was too big, just cost too much. So there was reportedly that OpenAI lost like 100 million USD, I think, per month. I think like something like that with respect to their business model. And I have seen that the electricity costs of 4 is way too much. So what did they do? They then built 4o. 4o is a so-called student model. So if you look, there are different papers coming out, for example, from Stanford. You can, if you're interested in it, just look like for alpaca, the alpaca paper. And the alpaca paper, what it does was that that the llama paper or the llama model was used as a parent or a teacher model to teach a student. And that is the idea with 4o and 4. So 4 is the teacher and 4o is the student. And therefore, the student has a smaller subset of neurons, or let's call them neuron as a brain metaphor. Here, obviously, there are like weights or parameters. And therefore, it is just more cost effective. For O with Canvas, the idea here was to give the students, and not just the students, because I'm talking to you right now, but everybody, more steerability with their outputs. So here, when you, for example, create code, after the creation, you can change it slightly. So that's really exciting, actually. And now O1. O1 is a whole other architecture. It is trained literally differently than the previous ones. The idea here is now to enable reasoning. How much they did it, I would still question it if reasoning is really like the thing that we have now seen. I would more call it like as a multi-step association chain, but let's go with reasoning. So the idea here would be to say that we have a model and it is doing multiple steps in the backend until it comes to a qualitative step where we say, okay, now the user can have the output that the user is desiring. So this is the idea of 4o. You can also ask it, just here, for example, I don't know, so no multi-step. Show me the first 10 positions. Okay, so here right now I'm putting something, and then O1 is trying to think. Now they have updated it where I said like, okay, it is so easy, we don't have to like think a lot. So we will immediately see the answer. But if you now have a more complex question, then it is trying to think and figure it out where it comes after some example. Maybe you remember about the movie. What was it called again? Where the solution was 42, and then everybody came to the computer, and then to the stone, and then I asked like, okay, dear stone, you now had time to think for thousands of years. What is the solution for life and for the universe and everything? And then the computer said 42. So here, the same thing is trying to be to be created, where we say like, okay, now think as much as you want, but have a really good answer. So these are the different ones. Now let's put into clarity and specificity. So now we have already, like with respect to the prompt engineering, we know exactly which model we want to use. And now we want to go into writing a prompt clear and specific. So what I can tell you to do is, if you ever want to write a prompt, just say it. Just tell ChatGPT what are types of a good prompt. So what is part of a good prompt? Okay, then it will tell me the different points. So you have to have clarity, specificity, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, ask me some questions regarding the research of retrieval augmented generation, and then after answering the questions, I want you to create a prompt. Okay, what I'm doing now is I am actually having like a little dance with ChatGPT. I want him to ask questions. I want to answer the questions, and then he will create a prompt. Both ChatGPT and me, we will therefore have more clarification with respect to what you actually want. So now I will say number the questions. Every question that I don't answer, I want you to come up with yourself, like with the content yourself. Okay. What ChatGPT is now doing is he is giving me numbered questions, and I can now just go into it. I can say, for example, for number one, which is what is the question? What specific aspects of retrieval augmented generation are you interested in? I can just give like really short explanations, efficiency improvements. Then for number two is, what is the main goal of your research? Optimizing RAG for academic data. And now everything else will be just being open. And now I hope that he will now write a prompt, which is really, really good. And then design a research framework for optimizing. Now what I can do is I can now take this multi-step prompt. Okay, I can now take this one here, change the model. So here I'm still at 4.0. I will now change to 4.1. And then I will, for one, just give the prompt that I was just being created to 0.1. And 0.1 now will take that and then come up with a few seconds of thinking to an answer. And now we already have like a good founding block. Okay, so far so good. Let's go now back to the inclusion. So here, this is the last point that I would like to jump into the tools. Okay, iterative refinement. This is probably one of the most, like I would say, the biggest problems that users with ChatGPT do. It doesn't matter if they are students, if they are C-suits, if they are people who love to do Googling the whole time, but then they go into ChatGPT. They don't think about iterativity. Iterativity with respect to prompt engineering means that you are actually in a dance with ChatGPT the whole time. So what we used to do prior to ChatGPT, what we used to do is, if we are inside somewhere, some field, let's say, for example, here, okay, it's in German, therefore I will translate it into English. Let's say we are in the field, for example, for apartments and houses, okay? And we want to build some apartments and houses. And we are interested in the newest technologies regarding building houses. Then what we do with Google, for example, is we just Google newest technologies for construction, okay? This is what's standing here. What we can do Better though is to say newest technology for construction, and then giving in these codes here, and then 23. If we do that for everybody who's googling the whole time, this is a really good tip for you. If we do that, then Google will be very hard on only these numbers in the middle, where it will only show us results where we also have 2023. So everything before that will be omitted. Everything after that will be also ignored, and we are only concentrated in this specific area. With Googling, when we write before a name a minus symbol, this means that this name here, this word here, will also be ignored in the search results. And with cite, this is actually one of my most important and most favorite operators. They are called also Google search operations. So if you want to look into them yourself, if you write cite double point, then you say, okay, .edu. .edu means only in the domains that end with edu, we have results. If we now look with respect to other sites, you can actually just say like, okay, for example, I want my name to search on the site, on the whole site of this page. So for example, if you now search your own name and then site double point and then tum.com.de, then you actually search the whole TOM site just for your name. And this is how you can Google really quick. And now when we think of prompting, because that's why we are here, with prompting, there are also different techniques. And the different techniques for prompting with respect to iteratively actually boil down to these 6 building blocks. So we have the task, we have the context, we have examples, we have persona, format, and like the way of talking. Okay. If you don't tell ChatGPT what to do, ChatGPT will not know what to do. It sounds simple, but a lot of people, they don't tell ChatGPT what to do exactly. They just give him a lot of context and hope that ChatGPT will figure it out. Like, okay, yeah, it's okay. You will figure it out, LLM. The thing is, if you don't tell him what to do, he will not know what to do. So one of the very first things that you should know is you have to steer him with respect to your task. Then with respect to context now, okay? So this is task, this is now context. If you think of a context is very important, as an LLM does not know a lot about you as of this time, as of this moment. So with Google has a lot of so-called meta information. It knows exactly like at which position you are at. It has information about approximately your range, how old you are, about your sex, about what you study probably, and so on and so on. So Google has a lot of context given your person. But ChatGPT and other LLMs do not have that. So what they do is they have a lot of information, ChatGPT has seen approximately 80 to 90% of the open internet. So a lot of information, but they don't exactly know where we are right now. So what your task is to give ChatGPT and an LLM as much context as needed for hence task. One example would be, for example, if you write an application letter and you just say, for example, ChatGPT, write me an application letter. ChatGPT doesn't know. Are you right now a person who is in her 9th grade and tries to now have the first apprenticeship inside a company with respect to their school that they have to do it, or are you a person at sales working for 30 plus years in sales, and now you are trying to have a new challenge in your life? So you have to give ChatGPT as much context as possible so that it knows what to do with respect to the task. And if you are not sure about it, just ask ChatGPT. Just ask, okay, I want you to do this task. What are questions that are important for the task? Give me the questions, number the questions, and also write down. If I don't answer the question, then just make up something. Then examples. This is also really important. With respect to examples, is that with when we think of accuracy, or let's say satisfaction with respect to the output that you get from large language models, then we have an inner, and by the way, I'm just making the numbers up, but an inner threshold point that we want to achieve. So when we only give a task, I would say we are satisfied. So we only prompt the task, only the task. Then we are satisfied, I would say 30% of the time. We are 30%, that means we prompt ChatGPT 3 times and we are satisfied once. If we now prompt ChatGPT not just with the task, but we prompt it also with the context, then we are satisfied to 60% approximately. So that would be 66, whatever. That would be out of 3 times, we are satisfied twice. Okay. Now, if we also give ChatGPT examples, that bumps up our satisfaction level, not just to 60, to 70, but almost to 80%. So if we already have a really strong application cover letter from a friend, or we have found it online somewhere, then just give ChatGPT that, give ChatGPT also some context, and then the task. Put that context inside the already existing cover letter, which I really, really like. And then we are mainly satisfied, like really like 80, 90%. And the last percentiles, this is all about proper advanced prompt engineering. I also have a whole course about that, but that's not the focus today. Okay, persona, format, and tone of speech. So these things I don't have to look into them. So they are nice to haves. A lot of people do them because they are also fun, but in general, I think they are self-explanatory. So persona is like the idea of who is the role of ChatGPT, that ChatGPT is writing this. Format is how long, like bullet points, how long should it be? How do you want to have the format of the output, or format the output? And the way that it's speech, the Tonlage so-called, it's just a way of, do you want it to have professional? Do you want it to be nice to you, friendly, not nice? It's really funny if you have a really professional task, but then you say like, okay, be now really cynical. You should do it once. It's a fun exercise. Okay, now let's jump into the tools. Okay, everything starts with research, I would say. So let's go first into the first tool of today, and that is Heuristica. Okay, that's the first tool. So as you already seen, I want to learn more about retrieval augmented generation. I've asked the question here with respect to the beginning. So not here, but where was it? There, retrieval augmented generation. The idea of retrieval augmented generation, really quick before we go into the tools, the idea of retrieval augmented generation is you have here an LLM, and the LLM has seen 80 to 90% of the open internet, but it has not seen your closed off data in your company or in your lecture. So the idea would be to now connect these two sources, where we connect the LLM with the proprietary data, and we connect it. But we let the user interact with the LLM. So the user will interact with the LLM. The LLM will look into the knowledge base, retrieve information, and then give that information to the user. And this is a concept called RAG. So I had to find some concept, because I want you to study with respect to your stuff. So if you are into, I don't know, science of sport, or if computer science, or whatever field you are at, you will obviously have another use case. But my use case, or my poison that I pick, is now a RAG. Okay. So Heuristica. The first tool, what it does is it gives me a mind map that I can now explore together with heuristic. So we will start with retrieval augmented generation. Okay, explore. Now, heuristic, what it does is it will now put it in the middle. And what I can do is I can now select it. You've seen here like the boundary here. And now what I can do is I can now ask questions with respect to that. So what? So I'm now asking heuristica or the LLM behind it. Don't forget, I already explained to you, it's just a wrapper, so it's an LLM behind it. And I'm asking now heuristica, okay, what is actually a RAG? So here we have like retrieval augmented generation. RAG is a technique that combines the strength, blah, 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 blah. Okay, nice. If we now look into the explanation, we can see different, not so many, I would say different words that we might not understand. Contextual, rich, rag, and so on and so on and so on. So what we can do is we can then say, okay, extract. Extract, there we see, extract the terms and concept mentioned in the input. So we will now go, with respect to the RAG, we will go now one step below. So we see here, these are the terms that are mentioned inside the explanation. So we see RAG, which is actually just retrieval augmented generation. We see here natural language processing. Okay, I want to learn more about that. We see here training data. Okay, that's something that I want to learn. And information retrieval, this one here. Okay, now I add them, and now I have 3 more levels. Okay, let's put them side by side. Okay, and I want now, what I would like to do is, I would like now to go into natural language processing. So I want to learn more about this. Okay, first thing is who came up with, who is the, get information about the person entity that relates to the input. Who is the person entity who founded, invented this? So who came up with natural language processing? And then it will look into it, and then came up with this answer. So we will have here the origin of natural language processing. Let's have it up there. Okay. Then let's say with respect to the origin of natural language processing, I can already see here Jeffrey Hinton, I see here NLP, I see here word2vec, transformers. There are a lot of things that we can actually extract again. So let's go into extraction mode again. And we see already, like we see GPT, Jeffrey Hinton, machine learning, word2vec, Turing test, Alan Turing, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, let's not go into that. Okay, and then further on, I can then say, okay, elaborate with respect to natural language processing. And this is the way where I can now build a whole concept of one specific field, where I can say like, okay, I'm starting with a topic, going into the different points where I will try to elaborate and explain stuff, and also have a better understanding of the different concepts. Important note here, just from my side, because nobody will tell you this, that like obviously the people that created this beautiful app will not tell you that. Right now, here, there are a lot of factual understanding, like there are facts. Facts is something where when you go to ChatGPT back and you go to the bottom here, you can see ChatGPT could make errors. Please check all your information. Please check important information. So since this application is using an LLM behind it, you have to know that this is mainly the starting point. So there's no no clear understanding that this is fact. So if you learn something here, just be aware that it could make mistakes. And typically, if you are, here we see it actually, GPT-4o. So this model has been used. And since it's fact, it is your responsibility if you now go into academic route and research and write something, to actually do more research on your own. So let's do that. Let's go here with respect to perplexity. So this is the next tool that I want to show you. So let's say you have now found something out here. Let's say then let's go with retrieval augmented generation. Okay. We will now look into perplexity. So what perplexity does is it's an application which now builds again on the existing LLMs, but the unique selling point here is that they give you the ability to now connect them to sources, to academic sources in a better way, where now the context, we have talked about context, is now shifted more towards the LLM. And we don't hope just that the LLM will now just come up with facts by itself, which is typically how 4.0 Mini is handling the task. So again, like not so technical, if you ask 4.0 Mini about RAG, okay, retrieval augmented generation, it will just say something with respect to its own brain. If you now ask Perplexity, retrieval augmented generation, it will not just say something with respect to its brain, but it will first look into a proprietary or actually open source, whatever, database, will then have the database as a context and will then answer. So a perplexity, like perplexity itself, can be also considered as a RAG. So when we now write in like, show me some leading papers about RAG. And now I say, like, okay, show me some leading papers, and then it will come up with papers. And the nice thing here is that the papers have also sources, so we can look into different sources where they come up with the answer. So here we see like RAG Foundry and so on and so on and so on. So this is a really good use case, a really good application which you can use to actually have our research handled by Perplexity. So here we can like go further and further into it. So we also see here that it has also like an archive, entrance to archive. So that's really good. Are there also RAG optimizations on academic data papers? Not peers, oh damn it. Okay, whatever. Okay. Yeah, it appears there is a paper. Here we can look into it. So an academic paper. Okay, we know this guy, so we know this guy. So let's work with this paper for the future, for the next month. Okay, so I've already actually uploaded this here. Let me open Safari really quick. So this is the next paper the next tool that I want to show you, and this is SciSpace. Okay, so what this application does, it has different tasks that it can actually work for us. So let's open them really quick. So we can chat with PDF, we can write something, use the AI thingy, paraphrase something, use citations, AI detections, research, and so on and so on. So actually, it sounds really good. And what did we learn? All of them are actually just wrappers on top of an existing LLM. And we have also learned that with respect to the information that LLMs say, it is mainly, not mainly, but a lot of them are wrong. So we have to figure out that, and we have to know that. But what I am really interested in is extract data. Okay, so I'm really interested in this tool. Why am I interested in this? I will show you. I will first have this paper, this very paper that we have just seen, towards optimizing a RAG using LMs on academic data. And we will then upload this paper on this tool, and it will be uploaded. And then what it will be doing is it will show me first the paper on the left side. Here it will give me a TLDR on the paper. And here, and this is the amazing thing that I really like about this application, is it will then show me the possibility to create a new column. So for example, I can have the results of the paper show up here, or also the limitations of the paper. Okay, doesn't let me. I have to sign up. Okay, here are the results. Okay, these are the results of the paper. And what I can do here, and that's really nice, I can then upload also another PDF. I can say like, oh, okay, I don't have a PDF right now, but you can imagine how it looks like. Like I will have here another PDF on the bottom, where I can have again the TLDR and again the results. And then it will just be, we have to imagine it, because I didn't prepare it. We have to just imagine it that it will be a really long list where we can just scroll down and see a lot of different papers and look into the TLDRs, the results, and the different limitations, contributions, findings, and so on and so on and so on. And if we want to look into one paper and say like, okay, how is this paper actually being, I don't know, how is this paper actually being summarized, or I'm more of a oral listener, then I just pressed into podcast, and then what it will now use, it's a service called Notebook LM. Notebook LM. So what's happening now is, again, it's just a wrapper. So what's happening right now is that this service here will now use another service in behind, and that is the so-called Notebook LM Google. It's Notebook LM. And what you can do here with Notebook LM is you can here just upload a paper. So I already did that. Upload a paper, and then it will create for you a podcast. I will not go into this because it took me really long. But here with Skyspace, it's actually really quick. And now I can just play it. I don't know if you can hear it. I have no idea. But it's really nice. Okay, I will pause it again. So here you can listen into your papers. Okay, so we came this far. So let's say now we live in a world where we have a lot of papers. We have like TLDRs of papers, summarization, and we have a lot of papers. And we actually want to remember things. We have everything in our head, and we don't know exactly how to write them down. And we just want some place where we transcribe them. Then I want to show you the next tool, and that is this tool. It's called Voice Notes. And what I really like about this tool is, first, this has an application for my phone. So this is also the reason why I'm holding a phone. I'm not being disrespectful towards you. But the thing is that this application comes from the amazing guys who also did the application or a service called Buy Me a Coffee. Maybe if we don't know it, I'm not going to go into it, but it's a really nice product. And this is also a really nice product. So what's happening here in the back end is there's a service where we can now record our sentences, and it will then be transcribed and put here into a unified space. Okay, let's say, for example, oh yeah, there is a paper called Retrieval Augmented Generation, and I really like that, and I should look into it. With respect to the findings, the TLDR is it's using multi-query, significant enhances and retrieval performance. A novel RAG confusion matrix is introduced for evaluation, and also we have like a domain-specific data set, curriculum QA, was constructed for evaluation. Okay, I now talked into it. Now it will be transcribed, uploaded. I don't know if I have to refresh. Let's refresh. Like on the app, it's already there. So I just want to show you that's there. Exactly here. And then we can look into it. I hope it is exactly what I said. And here I can hear my own thoughts about that. And the nice thing is, I can now group here, like say, okay, this one here is a upper topic, and I can now introduce like subtopics and so on and so on. And really nice when I have a lot of notes, I can actually also ask an AI with respect to my notes that I have now written in. So what are the TLDRs about the rag paper? And then it will think, it will look into like the transcribed text that I have, and then it will exactly say like what I just said. Okay, furthermore, novel, confusion matrix. So it's exactly this what I just talked about. Okay, and that's I don't know, I didn't count the fourth or fifth app that I'm now introducing you. Okay, let's say now we are one step further. We know that we want this paper. It's like amazing, and we want to use this paper. And I've seen also that one thing that people struggle a lot is also citation. Oh, there's cite live to them. I don't know, something is popping up, but I will not bother. Okay, so let's say I want to use this paper. Then I want to show you the next. Again, let's open Safari because here I didn't try it yet. So this is this again Skyspace, and with Skyspace, I'm now using the citation generator. Okay, so I want to cite something, and I can here, just as far as I know, as far as I remember, I can just have the URL of the specific paper that I'm interested in. I put it in here, the URL. It will then look into the internet. Ah, perfect. There it is. Look into the internet, find the paper, put it in there, already see that it's a journal article, and then it will give me the citation. The main citation, it's like this, and the in-text citation is like this. And this is the upper. So I know upper, or do I? Let's go into the next step. And this is an application called, it appears I close it, but no problem. It's called ChatPDF. Okay, this is also a really nice application. It was made by a student in a Berlin university. And we have something called a citation from Tom, like a paper from Tom here. Okay, and I have uploaded this. So if you are uploading it, I'm not going to do that now here. You have here the PDF. And what you can do is you can chat with your PDF. And believe me, a lot of applications already do that. You can chat with a lot of applications with respect to your PDF. What I like and appreciate about this tool is, first thing, when you upload it, it will just start immediately by a small summary and give you also like questions that you can ask. And then I ask, okay, which citation style should I use? Because I am way too lazy to read like 72 pages. And then it will tell me, okay, here, publisher, journal, blah, blah, blah. It will tell me a few things. And then here, no specific requirements. If there are no set guardrails, you can choose from established citation style. The TOM guide recommends 3 widely used styles: upper, IEEE, and Chicago. So I will look into them. And then I can look into the citation style with respect to what ChatGPT again here behind the hood. There's again ChatGPT. It's just a pretty interface. So, and ChatGPT has told me like, okay, nice. Here I can read into the style that is being like written down here, and I can just like check if it actually makes sense of between what we read here and what we see here. And this is what I highly appreciate. Here we see upper, recommended on citation at TOM, upper. Okay, we go back here, citation, upper. It's actually already been selected. So let's select another one. Then it will format it in a different way. But let's go back to upper because this is what we actually want. Okay. Now we have already done a lot of research. And now mainly what we did was we created research. So up to this point, we created research only with respect to our motivation. So we did something, we pushed towards research areas, And then we said like, okay, more that. But what it would be also amazing would be that different resources that are out there can be already been used to create our research for ourselves, or actually create us like a mind map. And that is where the next solution comes in, and it's Mapify. Okay, so here, let's go into a YouTube video. This, for example, from IBM is really nice. So what's retrieval augmented generation? In general, if you are in this field that I am in, IBM Technologies does a good job with respect to explanation. I have to say, like, I really like their videos. So I now am taking this video, and here you can already see Mapify. So map, so it's creating your map, obviously, has different possibilities that you can put in to creating your map. Even a picture. I don't know how they do that, but they do that. So what I'm interested now is to create it out of a YouTube video. So I will now put the video in here, the link, and in English, and I will now start up Mapify. And when I now start it up, it will have a beautiful animation, which I really appreciate. And then it will start by creating a map for us regarding the video that we just looked at. So it will say like, okay, first we'll start with introduction, a conceptual retrieval of mention. Here's the definition, and so on and so on and so on. Now it has created the map, and we can now zoom in and learn like stuff from the map that we have just seen. So we can like say, okay, nice. Oh, okay. I don't have to pretend I have already watched the video multiple times, but it's really nice. So you should give it a try at least. Exactly. Balance, quality, so here, and so on and so on and so on. And again, what is this? It is wrapper, but a really nice wrapper. I like it. Chat PDF. Here it was. I knew I have it somewhere. Okay, now for the last 7 minutes, I am now in the last steps, and I would like to, after already having a lot of research. So we are, with respect to our journey being a student, we have already a really good basis of how to research, which models to use, which model not to use, that we should not trust every information, and so on and so on. So there are two open questions right now. So the first one would be like with respect to writing, like a solution. So with respect to writing, I can highly recommend ChatGPT. Okay, so ChatGPT is the way that you should use with respect to writing, or Perplexity, or what's called Plot. Whatever you use, you should use one of the out-of-the-box LLMs, in my opinion. You can obviously also use an AI writer and some what we have seen previously. What you should do though, when you use them, you should give them enough contextual information about both your person or your study area, and also your writing style. And how you do that is by filling up here after your logo, you go into ChatGPT individual configuration. And then here you can just write them. Okay, here ChatGPT is asking, what should ChatGPT know about you to have a better reaction? And here, how should ChatGPT react? And what you can put in here is you can put here preferences that you have with respect to the output. So again, let's say you are inside you're building or you're working with RAG, and you want to have writing a paper with respect to RAG. Then you can write them here, answer the questions that pop up on the right side, here and here. And then with respect to the language that you give him, for example, you tell him, okay, ChatGPT, this is for a paper, for an academic paper. Please be very concise. Try not to lie, even though it will not help, but just tell him, like maybe it will help like a few percentile. Try to not have really complicated sentences, and so on and so on and so on. And doing these two things, filling up these two buckets, what will happen is that for every message, there it doesn't matter if you now write with ChatGPT on a private matter or an academic matter. For every message that you put in here, ChatGPT will remember the context that you just gave him. And this is how you can write like AI papers, or not AI papers, but papers using AI. Again, the information will most probably be not right. So if you give ChatGPT the task to write something, the information that comes out will most probably have errors. This is still the situation right now. So you have to deal with that. How do you deal with that? With respect to the context. And the second thing, and that's also really important because every department and every professor deals with it differently, just be transparent with your professor. Just ask them, like, okay, what's actually the situation with respect to AI? A lot of professors, I had one wonderful professor, greetings to Professor Gro at TUM, amazing professor. He was like, yeah, use ChatGPT. But he was like, if you write something wrong in there, I will be very hard on you. So he allows it, but if you now write quotes unquote bullshit, it will then be really, really hard on you. So you use it with caution. And now in the last minutes, I want to show you two solutions: Study Potion and RemNode. Both of them, they are helping you create so-called notes, magic notes, how they call it, and so on and so on. So what you can do again here is to give them like a PDF, a YouTube video, whatever. Let's, for example, give them the PDF here. And wait, study notes, YouTube, PDF. And then what it will do with respect, well, let's do the same thing here, YouTube video. So here, there, create cards. So both of them, what they will do is they will, not notes, sorry, flashcards. That's what I'm interested in. Sorry. It will ask me, let's say, 16 flashcards. And here's already working, so perfect. Both, okay, now it's failed. Maybe it's too much, I don't know. Ah, it's interesting. Okay, this is already done. So here we have like a flashcard. It has created 14 flashcards for me. And here, large language models. What behavior can large language model exhibit? And then here's the question. And then you can write like an answer. And you can either say like show answer, forgot, or have that question answered. And most of the flashcard services up to this date, they don't self-evaluate. What they do is they ask you after your explanation, they will ask you a way to get hold of your private database. After you put in there, they will then get misunderstanding of RAG frameworks, suggestion for improvements, and so on and so on. So they're not 100%, but you can obviously like look into them and just have a way of creating study cards. And if you have to learn, like, I don't know, some medicine students who have to learn like for one day really, really, really quick, they can obviously like look into them. And the last tool, I will not go into them because the time is over, but the last tool is Cursor. So I can highly recommend also this tool. And what this tool does is it gives you a way to interact with your code. So in the first stance, it looks like just proper VC, Visual Studio codes. But what it does is actually a fork of VS Code. And here you can write code with it. But I will not go into this now. But Cursor AI is a good solution, which I can recommend. Okay, these are all the things. These are the questions. These are all the tools that I want to show you. I think, yeah, Notebook LLM, Perplexity, and I think that's it. Therefore, I'm really thankful. I hope you had a good session. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to answer to question me. Also privately on LinkedIn, and I wish you the best and happy studying.